Okay, I was waiting for another person to arrive. They're not going to be here. They said go ahead without me. So I'm ready to start the press conference regarding the house explosion here on North Weinbach, but I want to make sure everybody's ready first. Okay. So my name is Mike Conley. I'm the fire chief of the Evansville Fire Department. Yesterday, we were dispatched at 12:59 for a house explosion on North Weinbach Avenue. First arriving units arrived on scene at 13:02. And after a brief survey of the incident commander then called for a second alarm, which brought in additional units. Total units, after review of the run report, which is not complete, showed 11 units were on scene yesterday in response to the house explosion, fire units, and also a structural collapse response team. We also had commanding officers and operations chief respond at that time. Centerpoint also responded immediately, surveyed the scene for natural gas, and there were no instrument readings outside of the structure. They made the scene safe. 3 victims died as a result of the house explosion, and our hearts go out to the families that are affected by those deaths. We also had 1 victim transported to the hospital to be treated for non-life-threatening injuries. We encourage anybody who has video of the explosion to send it to EPD or send it to me, and I'll forward it to EPD so that they can compile evidence that will assist in the investigation. No cause is determined at this time. Investigation is ongoing, and at this point it's going to be a very tedious process and lengthy, because 39 homes were damaged surrounding the blast site, and 11 homes are uninhabitable, so they'll have to be demolished. 15 families were assisted by the Red Cross. There was a receiving center set up last night at the Vogel Elementary, which is just a few blocks away, and those families were assisted by the Red Cross. Weinbach Avenue was closed down overnight, and right now there's shift change at the Evansville Fire Department. 7 o'clock is shift change, so by the time the crews get in, get the equipment, get rolling over here to set up operations, they'll begin shoring up the unstable structures so that we can do a complete and thorough search of every building. We have not yet completed a thorough search of every building due to the instability of the structures. This is a multi-agency response, and I want to first start off by saying alcohol, tobacco, and firearms came in and did a survey of the blast site to do a blast assessment, but that did not inhibit the operation that we conduct in stabilizing the structure and searching for victims. So I wanted to clear that up, because there's some misinformation being put out that alcohol, tobacco, and firearms has not impeded. They've actually assisted us in this process of the investigation. Very grateful for that. So since I have everybody's attention, I'm going to cite all of those agencies that have helped us. Ohio Valley Search and Rescue, they have cadaver dogs so we can search for victims in rubble. Evansville Police Department, we responded, the Evansville Fire Department, American Medical Response, Ambulance Service, the Vanderburgh County Emergency Management Agency, Centerpoint Energy, American Red Cross, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, Indiana State Fire Marshal's Office, Indiana Department of Homeland Security, Vanderburgh County Sheriff's Office, Scott Township Fire Department Ambulance Service, St. Mary's Warwick Ambulance Service, and to keep our crews energized and refreshed, we actually have Donut Bank, McDonald's, and Mission Barbecue has provided some refreshments for us. So very grateful for all the community support. Certainly it is a tragedy, but it's also a very bright, shining spotlight on the community spirit of Evansville for all of us to come together and work to resolve this tragedy. So this is a tedious operation. I intend to provide updates, but the updates that I provide may not give you any more new information. But I will schedule right now. The next update will be at 11 a.m. Central Time. We'll tentatively schedule 2 p.m. and then 5 p.m. may be our last update for the day. So put that on your calendar. As we have these updates and pressers, then I will determine if we're going to have the next one. Okay. And I'm also available for one-off interviews after this press conference, but I'm open for questions now.
Chief, can you clarify, you said that ATF did not inhibit search efforts, but I know yesterday you said that while they were doing their last investigation, search and recovery efforts were on pause.
Correct, and that's because they have to gather evidence. For example, at a house fire, when we go in and put out the fire, the firefighters go in and put out the fire, the arson investigator has to come in and investigate the cause. Well, if we do a lot of destruction of the evidence, the burn patterns and where everything was located, then it's difficult for the arson investigator to determine the cause. The same case is here. We had to leave the debris in place and everything as intact as we could so the blast survey could be conducted thoroughly.
Before they started that, though, talk about these 11 structures that are going to be torn down or too dangerous to go into right now for your crews. Were first responders able to at least make an initial pass of those areas before the ATF got involved to ensure as best you could that there was no one that needed to be extracted?
The building commission did a survey after we called them in to assist in assessing structural stability of the surrounding buildings. Some of our guys were able to make an initial pass, and in fire terms we do a primary search, was a quick brief, but a secondary search is thorough. So we've not yet conducted secondary searches.
Again, I think for people who might be confused by this, is that the normal procedure? Because I think some people might wonder, why didn't you turn over every stone to make sure there's no one under rubble before ATF put a pause on all of that?
I appreciate that, and that is one of the things that we have to do as incident commanders to ensure firefighter safety, first responder safety. So we have to hold them back for their safety. And we're not going to put somebody in harm's way unnecessarily.
So does that mean that, and I know you said it's unlikely to find survivors in there, are you expecting to find people who might have passed away and just stuck in there?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Can you speak to the 3 that died? Do you know when we might find out their identities?
Pending notification of family, next of kin.
Can you confirm there's a husband and wife killed?
I can't.
Based on what you've seen so far out here, you know, the cause is still being worked on, but does this look like it could be a gas leak to you, or does that seem not possible based on the evidence you've seen so far?
Well, I could speculate, but I'm not going to speculate. The investigation's underway. No cause determined.
Can you compare this blast to the one that happened back in 2017 on Hercules?
Okay, the one that happened on Hercules in 2017 was not as large as this one. We have 11 structures that have collateral damage, where we had 2 or 3 that were collateral damage on Hercules in 2017.
You mentioned 11 structures are total losses. Is that in addition to a 12th that completely exploded?
Yeah, 39 includes all of the structures. 11 includes that one.
So, okay, 39. It's 39 plus one that was exploded.
Yeah.
And then the 11 that are uninhabitable includes the one that. Okay,
Yes.
39 plus and then the one. Okay.
Check my math.
I just want to make sure. And you talk about not wanting to put firefighters' lives in danger. I understand that first responders, your firefighters, were able to see one of the 3 people who was dead and just couldn't get to them because the structure had to be stabilized.
Correct.
Can you just speak to what is that like for you and for your firefighters to know there's someone there, maybe has a chance to survive, but either way you want to help them and you just can't get to them?
Well, it's very similar to arriving at a house fire when the building is fully involved and the conditions inside are untenable for human life, but the family knows there's somebody inside and they tell us to go in and get them, and they're already dead. So it's recovery at that point. No sense in putting a firefighter in harm's way.
How is that for your firefighters to have to deal with? To know that, you know, even to give someone the respect even indefinitely, just have to stay back? What is that like?
It's hard. I've had to do it myself. I don't know what else I can say about that. Any other questions?
Is it being looked at as a criminal matter at this point, or is it
It's under investigation. We don't know.
completely up to you?
Earlier this morning, I saw the prosecutor in the area. Is he at all involved in this?
Well, anytime there's evidence being collected for a possible prosecution, it stands to reason the prosecutor would be involved.
You said so 11 homes uninhabitable, including the one that completely blew up.
Yes.
But 15 families are displaced right now.
Yes.
Does that mean there are 14 homes that are still standing, but on some level not safe to be in? Or some of them.
Say that again.
So beyond the homes that need to be demolished, it sounds like there are more families that are also displaced right now.
Yes.
Does that mean their homes are able to be saved but are not safe right now?
We're not in fear of collapse of those other buildings.
But they need to be shored up
Their repairs need to be made.
before they can live there.
Yeah.
essentially.
The 39 homes that have been damaged may be from wrecked and on fear of collapse to windows being blown out, and that's it. So there's some have minor damage, some have major damage. So that's your question. All right, thank you.